Hello, everybody. It's great to be with you today. This is Chuck Cook, managing partner here at Cook Baxter Immigration here in Atlanta. It is a beautiful day here in the South and a great day to be alive. Well, I think almost any day is a pretty great day to be alive. But we're here to talk immigration today. And the first thing we're going to talk about is the newest update in the new Biden parole program. We call it the Biden Spouse Parole program. And I wanted to talk about this because late last week, the Immigration Service issued an update without any real information on the parole program. Now, we do know that the parole will begin to be accepted on August 19th. August 19th is Monday. It is about 3 weeks, let's say 24 days from today, which includes 6 weekends. So it's only 17, 18 days from today. And we have no details on what exactly they want to see and how to present it to them. And perhaps most importantly, how much it's going to cost. Because I can promise you, they're not doing it for free. So here's what we know. Let's take a look at a couple things here. Here's what we know. You have to be in the United States illegally without admission or parole. So if you came in with a visa, you don't need this. So you have to be here without admission or parole, and you must have been here for 10 full years continuously from June 17th, 2014 to June 17th, 2024. 3, you must be legally married to a U.S. citizen as of June 17th. So a month ago, more or less, about 5 weeks ago. If you got married after that, really sorry. We don't recognize in almost any state in the country common law marriage. You must have, now here's where it gets fuzzy. No disqualifying criminal history or otherwise constitute a threat to national security and public safety. We have no idea what that means. I have heard through the rumor mill from talking to certain people that anybody with a felony is automatically disqualified. Doesn't matter the felony or disqualified. They may also be disqualifying anybody with even a misdemeanor. Now, if they do that, that's a big problem because driving without a license is a misdemeanor in Georgia. And almost everybody who's been here for 10 years has been ticketed for driving without a license, at least in Georgia, where we practice DWH, driving while Hispanic. This could really limit who can apply. And obviously, you don't give this to somebody who's a terrorist. I mean, that's just stupid, right? Public safety, that could mean you have a DUI. We're not going to give you that either. So we don't know who's disqualified. Now, if your spouse, you're a U.S. citizen, and your spouse is pure as the driven snow, they're probably just fine. The last criteria, though, is otherwise merit a favorable exercise of discretion. What does that mean? That's a great question. I mean, right, this is what they use for DACA, and almost everybody gets DACA, so I assume everybody will get it. But here's your problem. How long is this going to take? They announced last Wednesday, that they would be publishing something in the Federal Register. This is where you publish federal government documents for regulations, because they have to do this in a regulation and probably as an interim final rule. Along with the filing fees, the form to use, it's probably the Form I-131, but we really don't know for sure. They may update the form, but that would require even more time. So we don't know. We don't know that. So first of all, you shouldn't be hiring a lawyer to file anything. You can hire a lawyer to prepare for this, but be very careful. There's nothing to do yet. You can talk to a lawyer in a consult, which is probably your best option. That's what we're doing right now. You consult. Here's what we need. And what we're telling people is what you can do. What can you do now? 1, get your marriage certificate, obviously. 2, make sure you have a valid passport. Okay, make sure you have your birth certificate with an English translation. If you've got any government-issued documents, maybe you've got a driver's license in Washington or Illinois, have that as well as far as your education. You're going to need your spouse's proof of U.S. citizenship. They don't have to have been born here. They can have a certificate of naturalization. Now, here's what we don't know, and I think it's going to be okay. What if your spouse wasn't a citizen on June 14th? I don't think that matters. I think if you become a citizen afterwards, you're fine because they're allowing certificate of naturalization to occur. So I think you're fine there if they're natural. You just can't marry after June 17th. All right. The big thing, the hardest thing, 10 years of documents. That is a lot of documents. And we're telling clients, we want to see a piece of paper for every month for the last 10 years. Rent receipts, utility bills, school records, letters, report cards, hospital, medical records, letters from your pastor, unions, other organizations, records of your church that you participated in any ceremonies, money orders that you sent in or out of the United States, your children's birth certificates that are born here, bank statements proving you were here, automobile licenses, receipt, registration, car insurance, any type of insurance, deeds, mortgages, rental agreements, tax returns, tax receipts. And if you are a child of, so this accounts for both spouses of citizens and stepchildren of citizens, or I guess children of citizens as well, your birth certificate as well, and your presence in the country as of June 17th, 2024. It appears that children do not have to show 10 years of presence because they don't. They could have come later. Just a legally valid marriage of the parents. But as immigration says, beware of scams. There's some scam lawyer in California claiming to be able for a fee to backdate your marriage certificate. That is called fraud. Do not participate in fraud. That is, as they say in the old country, a bad idea. People go to jail for that. Just follow the law. Now, everybody knows my problems with the spousal parole program is number one, the big number. How long will this take? Because Biden's only president through January, and then we don't know who the president's going to be. If it's Harris, you're fine. You're golden. And we'll know whether it's Harris on November 7th, all right? We're going to know right away, probably. You know, I know Gore Bush, I know that, but probably on January 7th, on November 7th. A couple of days, day after the election. I think the election's the 6th. Maybe the election's the 5th, and it's the 6th. I forget which day it is. One of those days. If it's Trump, this program's toast on day one. So if they're not going to adjudicate these cases in 30 days, 40 days, 45 days, and your case is not one of the first ones in, you got to question whether you should be doing this or whether you should just wait until November 7th. And if Harris is elected, boom, just file then. So you have to weigh this, all right? Because if Trump's elected and you do this and you're not approved by then, and they just don't adjudicate them anymore, they have all your information. Now, some colleagues of mine were arguing, well, Trump's not going to deport those people. That wouldn't be nice. That's funny. That's very funny. Yeah, he'll deport you. He doesn't have to be. They don't care. They plan to deport everybody. They're going to call the National Guard. Now, they're going to do any of this crap because half of it's illegal. But they're going to send people around looking for brown people. I got an argument on Twitter the other day with some guy. He used to work for me. Trump's not going to do that. I'm a naturalized citizen. I said, dude, they're going to come talk to you. They're going to talk to anybody who's not white. And even white people they're going to talk to. What, are you kidding me? This is going to be awful if Trump is president. Awful. Clearly, you have not read about Operation Wetback from the Eisenhower administration, which they deported U.S. citizens regularly. Even today, I see people whose grandparents were deported who were citizens, and as a result, they're citizens. So yeah, it can easily happen and probably will happen. So that's what we know about the Biden Spouse Parole program. If you want to do a consult and you want to come on in and talk about it, all you got to do is call us anywhere in the country. We work on these cases. Now, the last thing I want to talk about on the Biden parole program is our friends, our clients who are part of the 601A litigation. I can find my... there it is, the joint litigation, 601A litigation. So we're down to like 65 clients. So more than 240 of our clients have been adjudicated, all but one approved. And that one wasn't approved because her husband's in the military and she's doing parole in place for military members. So she doesn't need it. So they just denied it. So almost everybody's approved, which is great. Congratulations, everybody. But I question, they're posed to me today. Well, I just got approved. Should I go ahead with the consular interview? And that's a case-by-case decision, because the question is, are there any other possible issues? For example, when you came in, did you come with a child? Well, if you came with a child, you have a smuggling bar. All right. So you should definitely not do that and do the Biden parole program. Now, if you're doing Mexico, that's about 8 to 10 months before you're going to have an interview. You want to wait 8 to 10 months, or do you want to try the Biden Parole program? The thing for you is there would be no downside. If you have a 601A approved, there's no downside to you doing the Biden Parole program, because if Trump comes in, so what? You're still going to get your green card. You get to leave the country a few months later. You're not really going to be impacted by a Trump nightmare. All right, you're going to be fine. But you might get a parole faster and be able to adjust status. Now, your adjustment of status will take longer for the green card, even if you're from Mexico, than just doing consular processing. That's highly likely. Because one of the other things we learned from this great group of friends, there's a Reddit group where an officer from HART, this is the Humanitarian Asylum Refugee Service Center that's living in the air, said they basically told everybody, at all the employees, they're going to take 300 of people, going to hire people and take current employees off the current product line, off 601As, and put them on these programs. So, immigration is the worst managed government agency. They're going to screw this up royally. The first people in will get really quick decisions, and then it will just bog down. And, they're going to get sued. They're going to get sued. And they sue in Texas, probably going to put an injunction on it. So stay with your consular processing if you're a 601A litigant. Now, last thing on this, if you entered the country twice, you came in, you got deported, you came in, then you left after 1997, you are ineligible for this program. People have only entered one time. One time. Now, if you have a removal order, but you haven't left, you may be able to do a motion to reopen, and you can do a parole in place. So there is that. But stay tuned, because we don't have all the details, and we'll be touching base with this probably hopefully next week, or the day they announce. I'll come live and talk about this. I also want to talk about the update that was given on the DACA D3 program. This program, I'm sorry, is stupid. It will benefit maybe a few hundred people because of this. In order to get the benefit from the announced 212D3 program, you have to, one, have a bachelor's degree in a specific field for which your employer files and you get approved for in the lottery an H-1B visa. If you have DACA and you got DACA before you were 18 and a half, and you've maintained your DACA the whole time, and you get this H, we had clients that do this last several years. They got DACA. You don't need a D3. You can just go consular process. No problem at all. Heck, you can still get a green card. If you got DACA before you're 18 and a half, and your employer sponsors you for any job, a nanny, a groundskeeper, a mechanic, a chauffeur, a nuclear scientist, it doesn't matter. You can just go get a green card, okay, for consular processing, because you don't have what's called unlawful presence of longer than 6 months. If you got DACA after you were 18 and a half, but before a year, you have a 3-year bar when you leave. So you would need the D3 program to process your H-1B visa to come back. The D3 is not a waiver of the 3-year bar. The D3 is an overall waiver that it's in our interest to have you here. That's all it is. It doesn't forgive anything. It just kind of gives you special permission. It's a statutory waiver. But if you got DACA after you were 19 and over, that means you have more than a year of unlawful presence, which means when you leave to get your H-1B visa, the Department of State, immigration's not, but the Department of State is saying you activate a 10-year bar. And because you activate that 10-year bar, you need a 212D3 waiver to come back, which is all well and good. They're going to be super generous and give it out like candy at Halloween. But here is the gigantic problem. The H-1B visa is only good for up to 6 years. Now, you can get extended for that, but only if there's a backlog priority date and your case has been pending for longer than a year. Basically, that's India and China. India and China DACA recipients make up less than 5% of 0.5%. So you're talking maybe a couple thousand people at the most. at the most, that have DACA from backlog countries. Nobody else is really effectively backlogged if you start the green card process within the 6 years. Now, if you wait till year 4 to start, maybe you'll get the extra time. But the waiver is only good while you have the H. So if the H is only good for 6 years, you have a 10-year bar. Now, you're going to serve the first 6 years in the country. What about the other 4? Silence from the government on this. Silence. Hopes and whispers, hopes and prayers from some immigration lawyers. Well, this could happen and that could happen. Look, if you're going to do this, I will make you sign a waiver that you know that you're subjecting yourself to a 10-year bar to come into the United States, and that the waiver is only good for 6, and you could be screwed and out of status. Just saying. You got to be really careful and look at this waiver program on a case-by-case basis. Do not drink the Kool-Aid the government's handing out on this, and some of these groups are talking about what a great thing this is. You know what would be a great thing? If the Department of State said, if you leave the country with an advanced parole, you don't activate the 10-year bar, and we'll just give you a visa. Because that's what USCIS says if you travel and leave the country on a advanced parole, because that's what the Board of Immigration Appeals says. When you leave the country, that's what it says. Not when you come back, but when you leave, because only when you leave do you activate the bar. Boom. Why doesn't State Department do that? That would be a great program. But you know why they don't do that? Because the Department of State doesn't like immigrants. No, they don't want to help people. Absolutely not. You know, I can say something like this because I'm old. All right. I've done this for a very long time. And clearly, the Department of State is not your friend. They're not. All right. The last thing I want to talk about was Kamala. Come on. You know, I have a friend, it's the same name, Kamala. So, Kamala. Let's talk about the where Kamala Harris is on immigration. Kamala Harris is a Californian by birth, and she is intimately familiar, because she was a prosecutor, intimately familiar with how immigration works. She was a U.S. Senator. She was involved in talks on the DREAM Act. She gets it all. She is probably the most informed president we would ever have on the topic of immigration. Really. She's a lawyer. She's a young lawyer, right? So she's younger than me. She gets that. She's not an immigration lawyer, but she knows how it works. And she knows the massive problems that come with it. That's why she wants to advocate for restructuring ICE, because of how it was being used by Trump. You know, not getting rid of it, restructuring them. That's why she was intimately familiar with, let's get away with making undocumented entry a crime, because they're not punishing it. If you're not going to punish every crime, why have it as a crime? So some people would say, that's radical. These are thinking outside the box to solve a problem that Trump told congressmen not to solve. So I think she would be really good on immigration, especially if there was a Democratic House. Because I think even if there was only 51 51 Democratic senators, you could still get something good through the Senate, I think, on immigration. So she'd be good. And she would also, I think, expand some of the programs that Biden has put into place that have been upheld. For example, this parole in place program. I think there's ways to make that a much more effective program and more broad. Push the Department of State. I think she could force consular reviewability on the Department of State. There's a lot of things that she could do that I think she'd be more willing to do than Biden, who's not a big immigration guy. I mean, he was in Congress 50 years, and yeah, he never did anything to fix immigration, really. So you've got that. You've got that. So she's great. I think she'd be a good president, and I think she'd be a far better president than Donald Trump. Of course, my pet rock would be a better president than Donald Trump. So let's take a look at some of the questions you have today. Welcome back, Taylor. Good to see you. Johnny, good afternoon, lawyer. What are the chances that Texas and other states will block? Oh, I think it's an excellent chance. They're definitely, they're waiting for the rule to be published, and they're going to file for a preliminary injunction, probably with Judge Hannon in Texas, or he's retiring, so maybe not with him, but they'll go that other dude in the other part of Texas and probably get it. I mean, that's why I really don't want to take money to do these cases, because I don't want to get money back. If I can't file it, why would I do that? When will that be clarified? That's a great question. Why don't you ask immigration why this wasn't ready to go the day it was announced? This is not that hard. This is not that hard to put together. They have a parole in place program already. This should have taken an afternoon for a clerk to do. Any guess when we could potentially file? Well, no, I highly doubt that you would want to concurrently file parole in place. Highly doubt that. And I don't think they're going to allow that. The Go case decision, well, you know the Go case decision, and we're going to be filing I think it's August 9th. We have a request, we were doing a request for reconsideration in Bank. U.S. witness security, I have no idea what that means. What's happening visa H-1B for DACA? Hey, Hussein, I hope you were listening a few minutes after you posted that. I have DACA and my H-1B got approved. Ooh, I'm so excited. That's awesome. Pax, did you have DACA before you were 18 and a half or after you're 18 and a half? I'm curious. Curious minds want to know. Let me know. Ellie, my husband got a 618 waiver approved yesterday. Woo! Congratulations. Oh, I would just do Ecuador, Ellie, because it's only going to take you 3 or 4 months to get an appointment there, I think. I would just hop right onto the NVC, get all that stuff done. He's going to get a green. If he came in alone and he didn't come with anybody, just paid a smuggler to get him across. Make sure you talk to your lawyer. But I think Ecuador would be way faster than doing the parole in place program. We don't even know how long it's going to take. We just don't even know. Taylor, we are documented qualified as of 722. I'm torn between filing PIP, just waiting on the consulate. Yeah, that's where you just want to. Well, which consulate? If it's Mexico, they're taking 8 or 10 months from documentarily qualified. If it's another country, it might only be 2 or 3 months. It just depends what country. PAX, D3 waiver, this work only dual intent, non-immigrant visas. Well, yeah, it works on any visa. It works in any visa, and they're pretty liberal on the dual intent for TNs. But I have always hesitated. I've had a couple of DACA recipients get TNs, but it's you gotta know what you're walking into, and you better have a really good explanation about when you're going back to Mexico. Should we apply for a lawyer? I said I would definitely not apply by yourself for this program. I think you'd be foolish. As Abraham Lincoln once said, I think it was Lincoln, the man who represents himself has a fool for a client, especially in immigration law. I'm not sure he added the immigration law part. That's probably me. How much will it cost? If there are lawyers telling you how much it costs, run away, because there's no way to know how much it costs, because we don't even know what we have to do yet. We will know within an hour of finding out the final rule. But for now, don't have any idea. Los nietos de ciudadanos tienen algún beneficio para poder migrar. Do the grandchildren of citizens have any benefit to immigrate? No. No lo tienen. No, they don't, unfortunately. There's a whole issue. If you were nació ciudadano, if you were born a citizen, then there's a whole calculation that goes into it. But if you were just a naturalized citizen, no. Again, Adus is back with U.S. Global Witness Security. Again, I have no idea what that is. Mariluz, recomienda aplicar por un permiso de trabajo con el programa de Biden. Yo tengo doble entrada. Mariluz wants to know if she should apply for parole in place, even with a double entry. I have been told that they will not accept applications for people with 2 entries. I've been told that by someone who knows. Maybe they changed their mind. So the answer is, you don't say. I don't know yet. If Trump becomes president, bite your tongue. Do you guys think he will cancel AP? Trump is going to cancel, Jamie, everything, but he's not president until January 21st. So if you're at DACA, you apply now, you will be able to get AP, travel, and come back in before he's president. Do it now. I've been screaming this for a couple of years. Do it now. Is delaying the FR to the last minute a strategic move? Honestly, you're talking about the rule? The Federal Register notice? Is that what I've never seen that abbreviated FRN. I'm just guessing. Is there a strategy? No, it's a stupid move. No. Is the context of delaying judicial challenge of the program? No, there's no. They're going to get challenged either way. It doesn't matter. Your view about in-bank reviews from your experience? They're not going to grant an in-bank review in this case. They're just not. I'm sorry. They're not going to do it. Adus is back with his global U.S. witness security, whatever that is. Dex, I was 17 and a half. Yeah, just go. When are you going? When are you going to get your H-1B? Get your visa, make an appointment, get out of here, get it done. Congrats. great news. When do you think we'll know the request for in place? Any Friday at 5 o'clock between now and August 19th. I just hope it's not August 16th. My guess is probably in a week or two. I don't think it's this week because they wouldn't have put this notice out last week. It's probably next week, July 31-ish, maybe. Probably when every lawyer's on vacation. That's when they'll do it. Trump said, I'm against immigrants. That is a lie. Trump is against all immigrants. Believe his actions, not his word. Why do you think that legal immigration dropped by 75% while Trump was president? Why do you think that happened? Because he slowed down processing of cases. The people that surround Trump and Trump himself are nativists. They don't want any immigrants in. None. They want to stop all immigration. So when you hear some people say, well, Trump's only against illegal immigration, that is not true because, great example, Biden's parole program is legal immigration. Think about it. It's legal. Applying for asylum at the border is legal immigration. Trump is not for legal immigration. He is against all immigrants. And as we read about in the New York Times today, the surge of immigrants from 21 through now has reduced the budget deficit by hundreds of billions of dollars and improved the economy by trillions of dollars. Yeah, immigrants are America. I love making America. Hola, abogado, ¿cómo estás? ¿Se sabe algo del problema de obtener H-1B para DACA? I just talked about that. Veronica, go back and take a look at that. Christy Vasquez, if my husband was approved from years ago, we waited to file a 601, you parole in place and not. If you're talking about a 601A, yeah, do the parole in place. If you haven't started the 601A, so if his only problem is unlawful presence, yeah, do the waiver. But do it right away. Just understand the consequences I talked about. Vic Aran, I'm already giving my fingerprint 618 months for repeat. Yeah, I think you can do both, right? There's no reason you can't do both. Just understand, as I talked about, there's a downside if Trump gets elected. And I think people that are wise may wait until November 6th to apply. And President-elect Harris. And I explained reasons earlier in this video. Rejecting the embank, why by judges? I know what you're talking about, Ara. Because the decision itself is a judgment call. And I just don't think we're going to get a majority of the judges to go for it. 95% of requests for hearing in embank are rejected. That's statistically why it happens. Booker, apply for VAWA, reconcile with the same abusive U.S. spouse. Can I apply for parole in place as I'm eligible for the requirements? Whatever. Yeah, you can do parole in place. Absolutely. But you're going to need to terminate. You need to be moving to reopen and terminate your removal proceedings. Don't wait. You need to terminate them now. Okay? Talk to your lawyer. Hola, gracias por accesarme para aplicar por mi Advance Pro con orden de procedimiento de disciplina en mi aplicación y espero en Dios. Yeah, vas a estar bien. She just got her Advance Pro. She has an order of removal. You can travel on DACA and order of removal with Advance Pro. Congratulations. All right. Been great seeing everybody today. Finally back live on Twitter, which is great. I got the blue check mark on Twitter. Yeah, I mean, Elon must like me. I don't know why. Maybe I have a Tesla back when Elon was cool. Anyway, it's great to be with you. I'll be back next Wednesday, unless something happens on Parole in Place, in which I'll come live immediately. I'll be back next Wednesday in Spanish, because that is the celestial language, el idioma de los cielos. Próximo miércoles a la 1 en español. Until then, have a wonderful week, everybody. And again, if you need to reach me, you make an appointment. Easiest thing to do, just call this number, 404-816-8611. You can email me. I answer all my own emails. ccook, C-K-U-C-K at immigration.net. And of course, follow me on the Twitter machine or on my Facebook page. And you can reach us on immigration.net. I know, great website, early adopter. We will see you guys next week. Have a great week.